Hey guys, good to see you again. We're going to do Revelation chapter 8. Are you excited?
Yes!
Yes, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right, when we were doing Revelation chapter 7, that was the interlude. That was the little break between all the seals. And we looked at all the Christians lined up in a perfect, wonderful, like rectangular line. There's John who sees them and he's excited, and here's all the myriads and myriads of Christians, and they're all super excited, and they're worshiping and they're singing and they're excited, and they are getting cloaks that were washed in the blood of the Lamb. And so it ends with this wonderful thing. It ends with, if anyone is crying, God will take away their tears. And that's this wonderful ending. And it's nice. It's nice that we get a wonderful ending, because that interlude was in the middle of some scary stuff. Remember the 4 horsemen? And
Yeah.
swords and pestilence and all those troubles. And do you remember underneath in the 5th seal, there was an altar to God, and underneath the altar were the Christians saying, "How long, O Lord?" Remember them?
Yeah.
And then in the 6th seal, there was like earthquake, and the sky was rolled back like a scroll, and it was all scary. And then God stopped it and did a little interlude in chapter 7. And so that means if it's done, what do you think is going to happen in chapter 8? We're going to get right back to the seals. Okay. And so he's about to open the 7th seal. I'll draw number 7. And don't forget, the seals, there was this scroll, right? And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seals. And he opened number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. 2, 3, 4, and those were the horsemen. Number 5 was the souls under the altar. Number 6 was the earthquake. And then here we are. This is what we're going to do. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
And when he opened the 7th seal, there followed a silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour.
My goodness.
That's very different, right? I'm going to draw some hands saying shush, okay? All right, and here's your thumb, and here's this finger coming up, and here's the voice saying shush, shush, be quiet. There's a quiet. This is a big deal, because everything that's been happening has been loud and exciting, but now it's shh. And God is absolutely in control. If he can get there to be silence, it's like everyone is time to pay attention, time to listen up, get ready. That's the 7th seal. And then what happens with it, and I saw 7 angels which stand before God, and they were given unto them 7 trumpets. So we went from 7 seals to now what? 7 trumpets. And so you can draw a little trumpet. There's the bell, and trumpets have the valves and the mark, the things that go around. And then there's the thing. You could, if you want, you can blow big old puffy cheeks. And there's the guy who's blowing on the trumpet as hard as he can. And so the trumpet is going to sound, okay? That's what we're going to be drawing on the board. I'm going to get the board ready. But the thing about this is we saw 7 seals, and they were big, and they were exciting, and a lot of things happened. And now we're going to get into these 7 trumpets, and it's going to be a pretty big deal. And we just kind of need to be ready for it. All right, so before the trumpets sound, we're going to draw something up here. All right. Oh, I guess I should share the screen in case you guys want to read along with me. All right. So we're about to start these 7 trumpets. Wake up, little machine. There we go. We're about to start the trumpets. But before the trumpets sound, we're going to figure out what John sees. And another angel came out and stood over the altar. Do you remember the altar from that last chapter or a couple chapters ago? He has a golden censer. I'll underline that. And there was given unto him much incense. That's good smelling stuff. And he should add it to the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, the smoke, with the prayers of the saints, went up before God out of the angel's hands. Okay, so this is what we're going to draw. There's an angel. There's another angel, and he's by the altar, and he has a censer with incense and the prayers of the saints underneath the altar, and the smoke of that incense are both going to go up before God. Okay? So that's what we're going to draw. All right, so we got to draw the altar again. So here's the altar, and it has horns on the corners, I think. I always draw with horns. So there's this altar, and on the altar, things are burning. So there's the stuff, and then you get the fire. So here's this fire on the altar, okay? And what's underneath the altar? Can you remember?
The saints.
The saints, the Christians. And are they happy or are they sad down there?
They're sad.
They're sad. They were asking, how long, O Lord, how long? And they were told, you got to wait a little while longer. So I'll draw two faces. There's one there, and you got to draw sad faces like that. And they're wondering, and they're praying, and they're crying out loud. I'll make this one a girl. There's her long hair. She has having a bad hair day. So they're down there, and they were praying in that other chapter. How long? I'll write how long. That's a prayer. They're sad, and so they're trying to pray. And then this angel comes out holding a golden censer. So we'll draw an angel.
What is the censer?
I'll get to that. It's kind of interesting. So here's this angel, and I'll make him really tall, and I'll put wings on him so that he can look like an angel. Okay, those are bad wings. But he's holding out. There's his hand. And a censer, there's different ways that you could draw this. But most people have it. It's this incense holder. And a lot of times it's ball-shaped. And it has these little, here, I'm making it orange so that it looks like it's made out of gold. But right now it just kind of looks like a basketball on strings. I don't know. Then it has little holes in it. Now it kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern. And you know, when you go to some old person's house and on the back of the toilet is a little basket with weird things in it and it's supposed to smell really good? All right, back in the day they used incense. I think incense works a lot better than the potpourri that they dump behind the toilet. But incense are these little things, and they put the little things inside there, and then they light it on fire, and it smells really good. It's just a really nice smell. But it's not just a smell. You can also see the smoke go up. You know how sometimes when you're by a campfire, it's fun to watch the smoke rolling up? Well, when it's not going in your eyeballs. And so here are the Christians, and they are praying to God. I'm going to make their prayers blue. Let's pretend that prayers are blue. And they are praying up to God. They're asking God these questions. How long? And dear God, can you help me? And what does this angel do? This angel comes in here with this incense. And he's going to help their prayers get up to God. Does God listen to us?
Yes.
Absolutely. We don't have to worry about it. But what's cool about this story is, here's an angel making sure that God does hear our prayer. That's part of the way that God listens to us. It sounds like he's going to mix the incense in with this prayer. And he's going to make our prayers go up and smell really good to God. That's kind of a cool image. Okay, well, now my whiteboard, it's kind of messy. I drew a lot of pictures in there. But there's an angel helping the Christians, helping their prayers, making sure that God listens to them. That's something that I want to know about me today. When I pray, dear God, my family is scared because of the coronavirus, or there's trouble going on out there. any number of things. Someone I know is sick. Someone I know was in a car wreck. I heard about that actually today, and I've been praying for a friend of mine whose child is in a car wreck. And we're praying about that. God helps our prayers. God helps our prayers get up to him. And that really makes me feel good. And so this is an encouraging thing to think about, that God wants to hear us. And there is an angel that was there helping our prayers even get up to God. And so that's what we saw right here. There's an angel who's holding this golden censer. I'll draw it again, and I'll draw like the chains on it. And this time I'll draw it this way. So there's the stuff that's burning. And here comes the smoke going up to God. And so we can be excited because God will hear our prayer. Okay? Now let's see what happens afterwards. And the angel takes the censer and he fills it with fire from the altar. Okay? So here's the altar. I'll draw the altar again. And the altar is burning the sacrifices to God, right? And here's the fire. And the angel takes some of that fire and puts it inside the censer. Okay? So now it's going to get really hot. He takes the fire from the altar, he puts it in the censer, and then he cast it or threw it upon the earth. And there followed thunders and voices and lightnings and an earthquake. Does that sound like a good thing?
Yeah, no.
No. So this now he throws it down, and when he throws it down to the earth, it's going to be scary stuff. There's the earth, and there's the globe, and it shakes, and this is going to be scary. And that's a pretty good indication of what's going to happen now with the 7 trumpets. Okay? This angel is interesting. He's helping prayers go up to God. That's a good thing. And he's also casting down earthquakes to the earth. That's not a very good thing, isn't it?
No.
There's a lot of times in the Bible where we see you can have the good thing or you can have the bad thing. I want to be a part of this good thing. What do you think I need to do to be a part of the good thing?
I don't know.
Well, we know that he was helping prayers, so maybe I should be praying. If I pray to God, I can be a part of this good part. But if I'm not praying to God, maybe I'm going to be part of this terrible part. All right, so let's start reading about the trumpets. I'm probably going to have to draw them here because there's going to be, we're going to count numbers again, okay? All right. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Okay, so the trumpets are about to blare out. I'll put lines next to sound because it's going to be loud. And the first sounded, draw number 1. And there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. All right. So what happened when the first trumpet blew? Hail, fire, and blood, and things burn up. So we'll draw hail. Hailstones are just frozen pieces of ice, right? But this isn't like normal hail. Does hail catch things on fire?
No.
No. So this is some sort of terrible hail. This is awful. So you can draw hail falling, and you can draw this fire, and it burns up the earth. Earth can also just mean land, so you can just draw some dirt. It also burns up trees, so you can draw, here's a fun way to draw pine trees. You start doing back and forth lines, and you just go up. And it looks like a pine tree, all right? Back and forth lines, and you go up. And so you can draw the fire is climbing onto the pine trees, and it's burning up the trees, and it's burning up the land, and all the grass get burns up. Now here's the question. Did the whole earth burn,
No.
No, only 1/3. If 1/3 of the earth caught fire, it would be terrible. But it's not all. It's not all.
So did the island of Patmos get caught?
Well, this is a vision. And so I think he's seeing it happen in his mind like a dream. Does that make sense? I don't think it actually happened. I think it's this vision of what things happen when God judges the earth. That's a good question, though. All right, I'm going to draw the second trumpet now, okay? Number 2. And the second angel sounded, as it were, a great mountain, something like a mountain that was burning with fire. Imagine an entire mountain of fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood, and there died a third of the creatures that were in the sea, even they that had life, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. Okay, in the first one, hailstones of fire fell down. What's falling down in this one?
Fire.
A great mountain of fire. So I'm going to actually just draw, I don't even know what that would look like. So I'm going to draw a mountain. A mountain is just 2 lines like that. And to make sure you know it's a mountain, I always put snow on it. Now that doesn't make sense because how could there be snow on the mountain if there's fire? That's okay. Don't worry about it. Right? Draw this giant mountain on fire. It could almost be like a volcano, I guess. And it's all on fire. If you have colors, you can make some pretty cool. Actually, I got some yellow. I put some yellow in here. And I think I have an orange. Yeah, I got orange. Yeah, if we're going to draw so much fire, we got to color it in, don't we? This orange fire. Get that stuff on fire. Okay, there's a lot of fire in this chapter. So here's this mountain of fire. And it's thrown, it's cast down. So I'm drawing an arrow, so like it's getting thrown down, and it's into the sea. And so I'm going to draw waves of the ocean. And you can draw rows and rows of waves if you want. And so it's in the sea. And what happens to all the fish and all the creatures that are in the sea when it falls into it?
It burns them up.
Yeah, they die. Again, not all of them, but a third, 1/3. And so what you do is you draw a fish and then you give it an X for an eye and it looks like it's dead. You can even draw its tongue sticking out. That's how I draw dead people. So fish are dying, and what happens to the ships? The ships are destroyed. And so you could draw a sinking ship.
God's killing the animals.
Right. He's doing judgment, isn't he? Well, here's a question. Did that ever happen before? Did God ever destroy animals?
Yes. No.
When?
Oh yeah, in the flood.
In the flood.
Flood.
It's not that God is punishing the animals. He's punishing the people in the earth, and these poor animals suffer too. But here their ships. Their ships are going down, right? Is it all of their ships? No. But a whole lot. Are these happy trumpets?
No.
No, they're not. It's a lot like those 4 horsemen. Were those happy horsemen?
No.
No. And the third angel sounded, and there fell from heaven a great star burning as a torch. And it fell upon a third part of the rivers. There's a difference between the sea and the rivers, right? So this one fell in the sea, and what we're reading about now falls in the rivers and upon the fountains and the springs of the waters. And the name of the star was called Wormwood. And a third a part of the waters, I gotta jump up here. A third of the part of the waters became wormwood, and that's another word for poison. And many of the men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And that doesn't mean just like bitter tasting, but they were poisonous. Hope I spelled poisonous the right way. All right. And so what fell in this one? Can you remember? A great star. So you can draw a star, but you got to draw it on fire. Have you ever drawn so much fire in your entire life?
I don't think I really draw fire unless it's in a fireplace.
Yeah. I like drawing fire. I get a lot of practice drawing fire when I'm doing the Book of Revelation. So here's this fiery star. You gotta draw it and color it in. And it gets thrown. And what does it get thrown into? Do you remember?
Rivers.
The rivers. So if I drew the sea with sharp waves, I draw the rivers with smaller waves. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I'm just trying to make sure that my picture looks a little bit different. So it's on the rivers, and I think of the rivers and the lakes. One big difference between the ocean and the sea and the rivers is this is the salt water and this is the drinking water, right? This is the fresh water, and it became poisonous. This wormwood, this poison. And so what happened when people started drinking it?
They died.
They died. So now, remember how we drew X's for eyes for the dead fish? Now you can draw X's for eyes for the people. Make this one a girl. Trying to draw some boys and some girls. The reason I usually draw only girls is because, or usually only draw boys, is because boys' hair is easy to draw. You just draw a bunch of lines and it's fine. Girls, you got to try to make their hair look pretty, and I usually can't do that very well. And so the first one, I'll even color this in. The first one fell, and it was fiery hail that burned up the land. And the second one fell, and it's a fiery mountain that ruined the ocean and the seas. And the third one fell, and it was a fiery star, and it messed up all the drinking water. And now we'll jump up to number 4. Do you think this one will be happy?
No.
No, I don't think so either, huh? These sound pretty rough. The fourth angel, the fourth angel blowing the fourth trumpet. Color that one in orange also.
I started drawing a happy girl.
Oh, yeah? Put X's in her eyes. The fourth angel sounded, and the third a part of the sun was smitten, and a third a part of the moon, and a third a part of the stars, and a third a part of them should be darkened, and that the day should not shine for the third a part of it, and that the night in the same manner. So does anything fall in this one?
No.
No, it doesn't fall, but what happens? What gets hurt in this one? The sun.
The sun.
The moon and the stars.
I can what? Oh.
And here,
the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Yeah, the sun, the moon, and the stars. I'm going to draw the sun and the moon and the stars. And what happens to it? Do they burn up and die?
No.
They get darkened. Is the sun very helpful if it's dark?
No.
No. Not all of the sun, but a third of the sun. So we'll draw like a line through it and we'll make it black. We'll make it sunshine over here black. And the moon, a third of the moon becomes black. And a third of the stars, they become black too, so that they produce no light. Think about that. In the wintertime, when it gets dark early and you can't go outside and play, this is apparently going to be even worse than that. Dark, dark, dark. And so that's what happens with the first 4 trumpets. That's rough. All right, I'm going to go back and review. So this angel comes out, and the angel is going to help the Christians' prayers go with this incense. And that's a very helpful thing. And then we get these 7 trumpets. So while the Christians are getting help with their prayers, what happens on earth to the rest of the people who are not praying is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And so the first trumpet sounds, and it's fiery hail that burns up the land. Oh, I didn't draw the trees on fire. Hold on. It's fiery hail that burns up the land. And then this second trumpet is a fiery mountain that ruins the ocean waters and the fish and the ships. And then third trumpet is the fiery star that makes the waters poisonous and people die and they get sick and die and it's terrible. And then the fourth star is just darkening and darkening and darkening and darkening and darkening. And that is just not happy, is it?
No.
And we think, whew, it's a good thing those first four are done. Do you remember when we did the 7 seals? How
Yes.
there's 4 horses?
Yeah.
And remember 5 and 6 were different? And so was 7? We're going to see the same kind of pattern. We're going to see the same kind of pattern. And I think that's cool. With the 7 trumpets, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they all have basically falling fire. Well, this one didn't have falling fire, but it's similar, right? It's connected to that. Now we get to say, well, what is 5 and 6 and 7 going to be like? That's what we'll read right now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw and I heard an eagle flying in mid-heaven, and it said with a great voice, "Woe, woe, woe for all them that dwell on the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels who are yet to sound." And that's where it ends. So there's an eagle, okay? There's an eagle and he's flying. And what does he say out loud 3 times?
Whoa.
Whoa. Do you know what that word means?
No.
A lot of people say it today like, whoa, that's cool. This one is woe and sorrow and crying and sadness and terrible things. Does that make sense? This isn't whoa, that's fun. This is whoa, this is terrible. But do you know what he says is terrible? What
What?
does he say is terrible?
For the people on the earth.
He says what they have to deal with is terrible, right?
Yeah.
Woe to them. They are getting woe. And the trouble is not trumpets 1, 2, 3, 4. He says the trumpets that are yet to sound. He says trumpets 5, 6, and 7, those are the hard ones. Wait a minute.
We only have hard ones.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 was burning stuff and people dying and trees burning and the sun turns dark. And the eagle says the next 3 are the bad ones? Nope. Have you ever been reading a book or your mom's reading you a book and the chapter ends and you go, what? Why did it end there? I want to know what happens next. Guess what we just had?
What?
One of those chapters. It ends right there saying, chapter 9's going to get crazy. Can you believe it? Okay. Now, that's the last, we're not going to go through chapter 9 yet. We got to wait until the next class period. But I'll go ahead and ask you, do you have any questions about what we read? We read a lot of crazy stuff. This angel who's helping our prayers, and then the other angels who are playing trumpets so badly that the world blows up. Have any questions?
No.
Why
Yeah.
is hail falling when it's snowy hail?
Well, sometimes the Bible calls these burning things that comes from the sky burning hailstones. I've never seen it before. If I find one, I'll put it in my pocket and I'll bring it to your house and show you.
Oh, it would burn your pocket.
I'd wrap it up in like a tissue.
It would burn the tissue.
Yeah, I have to figure something out. But if I can get some, I'll show it to you.
But with ice.
Any other questions about what we read about? Well,
Is it? Can you say hi to Mr. Dan?
I think we're going to be done for now. I will say goodbye to you, and we'll
Why-
tune into this
Why is the
later.
eagle talking?
Why is the eagle talking? I think the eagle is talking to say, whoa. Get ready.
Like a talking Narnian eagle.
Yeah, it's a lot like a talking Narnie eagle. All right, well, I'm going to sign off. Take it easy, guys.